Since this was Stacy's petition, let's grant her some additional time to speak. Generally, we limit the speakers to 2 or 3 minutes, but let's give her 5. Thank you. When it's time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this item 17 is the consideration of the citizen petition related to action items on procedures for unsheltered residents. And Gina Montes, Deputy City Manager, is here to introduce this item and the team that will be presenting.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee. We're here this morning to update you on our progress regarding the street cleanings around the Human Services campus and to respond to the citizen petition provided to the City Council. With me is Marshall Franklin, Human Services Director. We have Scott Hall as well, who is our interim Deputy Human Services Director, and Joe Giudice, Public Works Director. So I'll turn the presentation over to Marshall.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager Montes. Good morning, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee. As Deputy City Manager Montes stated, we're here to discuss with you a petition with 10 considerations. I do want to note before I begin that the language is taken directly from the petition. The 10 considerations are no further displacement of individuals or their tents during cleanups at unsheltered encampments, provide at least 2 bathroom and hand washing or amenity stations near 9th Avenue and 12th Avenue, provide access to clean, potable water at amenity stations, remove chains, poles, and no trespassing signs, provide additional waste receptacles and empty more frequently, provide push brooms, dustpans, cleaning supplies, garbage bags, masks, and hand sanitizer, provide safe, dry storage solution for individuals' extra belongings, reiterate Phoenix PD to stop harassing unsheltered people and those conducting street outreach, install more pedestrian signage or additional measures to protect pedestrians attempting to cross at 10th Avenue and 12th Avenue in Jefferson, and finally, create a solutions-focused group, including those with lived experience, to gather best practices. The city conducts cleanups in order to maintain a safe and healthy environment for those who are living unsheltered around the Human Services campus and also for the surrounding residents and businesses. Cleaning of the street, sidewalk, and right-of-way occurs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the areas of 9th Avenue to 12th Avenues, Madison, and Jackson Streets. The cleaning begins at 8 a.m. with notifications beginning at 6 a.m. for individuals to move their belongings so that cleaning can occur. City crews and contractors are responsible for removing trash and waste from these areas. And the police department's only role is to provide safety, security, and traffic control in the area. Restrooms are open to the public and for use by individuals experiencing homelessness at the Human Services Campus Brian Garcia Welcome Center. And in December 2021, restroom hours were expanded to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Brian Garcia Welcome Center is located at 12th Avenue in Madison, and a Human Services Campus identification card is not required to use the restrooms. Steps are being taken to add additional bathrooms adjacent to the sprung structure located at 9th Avenue and Jackson Street. These bathrooms will have an external entrance, and a Human Services Campus ID card would not be required. The bathrooms will have standard and ADA compliant stalls, hand washing sinks, and will come online in conjunction with the opening of the sprung structure. The city is working with the Human Services Campus to locate a potable water station on the campus near 9th Avenue and Jackson Street. And with the other services that I mentioned, a Human Services Campus ID will not be required to access the water station. As it relates to chains, poles, and no trespassing signs, those were installed to alleviate and mitigate COVID-19 and other public health concerns raised by our residents and impacted businesses. These efforts are designed to limit congregation of individuals and assist in keeping the streets, sidewalks, and alleyways clean. I will now turn the presentation over to Joe.
Thank you, Marshall. Good morning, Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee. Waste receptacles and frequency of collection was the fifth item in the petition. The Public Works Department's been providing supplementary waste collection services in and around the campus area for several years. And thanks to action from Mayor and Council, additional resources have recently been provided to Public Works to extend those services. What I thought I'd do is just walk you through how those services have changed over the last year. In January of last year, we were providing services of 4 bins on a 5-day-per-week schedule, Monday through Friday. Those bins are represented in the picture in the upper right corner. By July of last year, we recognized the need to increase the frequency of collection to include Saturdays, so we began collecting those bins on a 6-day-per-week schedule. In November of last year, we increased from 4 bins collected to 6 bins to provide more bin convenience. And then in February of this year, actually after our meeting last month, we've increased now to 10 bin locations, again, continuing to collect those on a 6-day collection schedule. Additionally, we have ordered, and actually I think they're being delivered, 2 pilot waste collection receptacles that are locking that we want to install in the campus area and in partnership with the Human Services campus to see if that's a solution for future waste collection services. And waste collection services in the campus area is a partnership between the City of Phoenix and the Human Services campus. In the special permit, there are stipulations that the Human Services campus has regarding waste receptacles in terms of collection frequency and accessibility. And so we're working with the Human Services campus now on implementation of those stipulations. And I will turn it to Scott.
Good morning, Chairwoman Stark and members of the subcommittee. Number 6, provide push brooms, dustpans, cleaning supplies, garbage bags, masks, hand sanitizer. Steps being taken. Purchase and provide to the Human Service campus masks and garbage bags for distribution to those around the Human Services campus. Number 7, provide safe storage solutions for individuals' extra belongings. Our current efforts are, the city's provided 300 new containers to the Human Services campus for a safe storage program. Containers provide the ability to safely secure people's belongings, and there's mobility with those cans. This program started in December of 2021. These items can be accessed twice daily by clients that are utilizing them. And in addition, Andre House provides access to storage lockers at their facility. Number 8, Phoenix PD's involvement with those unsheltered and those conducting outreach. Current efforts are Community Bridges, Inc., a behavioral health and homeless service provider, conducts notifications on days of cleanup starting at 6 a.m. Phoenix PD's role is for managing safety around heavy equipment and traffic flow. Again, safety is the primary role for Phoenix PD. Number 9, install more pedestrian signage to protect pedestrians at 10th and 12th Avenues and Jefferson. Current efforts, fall of 2020, additional signs and high visibility markings on Jefferson between 8th and 13th Avenue. Unmarked crosswalks at 10th Avenue and 12th Avenue on Jefferson upgraded to high visibility markings and signage standards. Number 10, create a solutions-focused group, including those with lived experience, to gather best practices. Current efforts. The city implemented a strategies to address homelessness plan task force. Members in this task force included neighborhood leaders, business leaders, homeless service providers, healthcare providers, and individuals with lived experience. Additionally, there was a work group created to discuss how to improve cleanups around the campus. I'll now turn it back over to Director Franklin.
Thank you, Scott. Madam Chair and subcommittee members, this concludes our presentation, and we look forward to any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you. Why don't we start with the speakers, and why don't we start with Stacy, since it was her petition.
Stacy, are you on the line?
Hello, good morning. Chairwoman Stark, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
And members of the council. Good morning. My name is Stacy Champion. Thank you for taking your time. I did make a request to do a presentation, but was informed that wasn't possible. And also, and I'm sure another speaker is going to get in it in a little more detail, but just wanted to also point out the fact that there were many people who are currently unsheltered who did wish to give public comment, but because they don't have phones or access to internet, and I was told I couldn't pass my phone around to them to give public comment, they will not be giving public comment today, but just want you all to be aware of the barriers for people trying to engage with you who don't have the necessary tools to do so. I was down there this morning actually and had a small press conference and wanted to share a story of a woman who came up to speak with me right before the press conference started. This woman was very recently unsheltered. She was 72 years old. She had colon cancer and then breast cancer and is now living on the streets. I believe that how our society treats its most vulnerable residents is a huge indication as to what kind of society we are. I'm not sure how many of you go into this area regularly. I personally have been going down there for going on 14 years now. I have never seen it as bad as it is. And I can tell you that every single week, there are more and more and more people. With regard to the chains and poles, I can tell you that because they are there, people are either crammed together in the few areas where there are not chains and poles, or because now, I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with the fact that over 5,000 people were evicted in Maricopa County in January alone. People now, because there's just nowhere else to go, are setting up their tents on the sidewalks in the area because there is just not room for people. This isn't a today problem. I personally have been talking about our lack of affordable housing since at least 2015. I know that it is a complex issue. I know that I have seen more and more elderly people unsheltered, people with disabilities, veterans, which I know there was just a story that came out about our rise in homeless veterans. And we need some real leadership and some creative vision to move past this, because my fear is that it is only going to get worse and worse with no rent control, with just no place for these people to go. And it is my belief that everyone has a story. These are human beings. This petition is really about providing just the most basic dignity and sanitation remedies for the large number of people. I mean, if you look at the number of bathrooms that the city is proposing, there are currently over 700 people outside of campus on the streets. I want you to think about it as if you were having an event and how many bathrooms you would need to service people. Everyone poops. I can tell you that this morning I was still almost run over crossing the street. Nobody on Jefferson is yielding to pedestrians, even with those crosswalks. This is a citywide issue. It's not just a their issue, but it is a bigger concern for there, because you're talking about hundreds of people who don't have cars. So I don't know if it is, yield to pedestrian signs in the middle of the street, or flashing hawk lights or something, but people are driving at very high speeds and not yielding to pedestrians. I think that there is a humane way to clean, to empower the folks down there to clean. I think we need to lead with love and compassion, and we're going to see a shift in how we get through this issue. But I think it has to start with empathy. It has to start with compassion. It's only going to get worse. And I cry now when I come home every time after I'm down helping people. And thank you for your consideration. But we need to do more, and we need to do it much faster.
Thank you, Stacy, for your words. So our next speaker.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, Elizabeth Venable is our next speaker. Elizabeth,
Okay.
are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Let me go away because we have the echo. Basically, what I wanted to say is that I'm glad that you are accommodating the street camper population more sufficiently as opposed to treating them as people who are not worthy of bathrooms or water. I think that it's a big step to accommodate them as opposed to stigmatizing them. We are with Fund for Empowerment, which is basically a peer group. And we know many people, hundreds of people who have had their property thrown away by the Phoenix Police Department. I personally talked to people who have had their parents' ashes thrown away, cancer medications. There was someone who testified in front of you all that had his cancer medications thrown away, things like that. And I think that as long as the sweeps are conducted the way they're conducted, there's always a threat of loss of property. And under the rulings, there should be threat of loss of property abandoned. So people should be able from their property to attend appointments, to go to work, things like that. As long as it's not truly abandoned, you can't toss it. And I think you need more storage for the unsheltered population as opposed to just the CAS population. And I also think that these issues need to be attended to across the city because there's like a paucity of resources for people that are on the streets, for example, in Sunny Slope, where we've interacted with many people. So that's the end of my comment. I think it's good that you guys are making steps to, rather than combat the population, to accommodate the population and realize that they're valuable human lives.
Our next speaker is Jeremy Thacker. Jeremy, are you on the line?
I am.
You may proceed.
Yes. Can you? Yeah, thanks. I just want to commend Stacy for the work that she's doing and say that I'm in complete support of it. I am very concerned about the process, too, of how this was handled. The fact that she wasn't able to give a presentation in response, and really the lack of response that the city staff gave to the particular issues, not really confirming or denying whether things were happening, saying that there were processes in place, but they were going to start enforcing those processes. It just seemed very non-committal. And the fact that, we've got this entire population that's getting so few resources handed to them. And I submitted a petition last week that showed that 1% of our population that does not need subsidy is using over $100 million worth of property that the city owns exclusively for their own entertainment. It's just, the equity in it is just incredible and needs to be, looked at holistically where the money's going. As we talk about building elite lounges in the airport, and they get to present on it, but not the unsupported population that we have here. So just want to say thanks to Stacy again, and I am full support.
Our next speaker is Faith Kearns. Faith, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. My name's Faith Kearns. I am with the group of Funds for Empowerment. And I want to thank you guys in your cooperation to put in more restrooms, more sanitation. We do greatly appreciate it. But what we need to actually work on is the ones that are handicapped and cannot get into the shelter. So you're dealing with the unsheltered. We don't have enough space to be able to build other buildings for the handicapped to get into, some form of shelter there. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to sleep on the streets because they've got nowhere else to go. And with that, I'll yield.
Our next speaker is Frank Urban. Frank, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. My name is Frank Urban. I am with Fund for Empowerment. I also would like to thank you guys for getting more sanitation out there, more bathrooms, and for making them available to everyone out there, not just the people with the CAS IDs. That is a big help, but I have been formerly homeless myself, and I've had my stuff thrown away by the police numerous times, and I just think there should be something, more storage there for them to be able to put their stuff into the storage bins so that the stuff is safe from the police and the city workers and anyone else that come out to do the cleanups. I guess I'll yield.
Thank you. Jessica Spencer is our next speaker. Jessica, are you on the line?
I am on the line. Thank you. Hello, my name is Jessica Spencer. I am a GI Bill student going to ASU for a degree in social work. I live close to the encampments, and thus I am an impacted individual with what's occurring down here. I wanted to talk a little bit about this presentation that you guys showed and how it seems to be just a response to Stacy, but she wasn't actually given any kind of opportunity to present herself, which I find intriguing that you guys are just showing up all your stuff, but then you make it so inaccessible for literally anybody who's actually impacted to come to these meetings. One, there's no American Sign Language interpreter or closed captioning, again, and I could use it. I have a disability that have an issue with processing audio. So this is an ongoing problem. And I know lots and lots of people who are disabled and have issues who can't access these meetings. I know that's not violating the ADA, or else we'll probably be able to sue you, but there's limited sign up time. You guys opened this 3 days ago, and then the people who are impacted the most, who don't typically have internet or, a house to do all this stuff at, have only barely 3 days to maybe even go look at it. And then you're required to sit here and hope that you catch when somebody says your name, because once again, there's no freaking subtitles. There's no heads up, hey, we're going to be calling you within this time frame. All of this is just to make it difficult for those who are actually impacted to come to these meetings and tell you how you are screwing up their lives. I get to hear it because I go out there, because the city is failing so hard and I can't leave my house without encountering somebody who needs help. I listen to these stories and I hear them all the time. I know a woman who's elderly and disabled who doesn't leave her lean-to, and she doesn't go into CATS because she's scared. She's scared of everything that goes on in there, and she's not the only one. There is so much going on in that entire area that's disadvantaging everyone, and the laws that you people process when you don't even listen to those most impacted.
Our next speaker is Nicole Rodriguez. Nicole, are you on the line?
I am, thank you. Well, I actually have no thanks to provide. I'm in support of this petition, but what has been provided thus far are basic human rights. And a right is not something that is a want, it is a necessity. So there's no thanks to the city for providing that. That should have been provided a long time ago. You know, we get what we invite. And this year we're expecting record-breaking heat-related deaths and roadway fatalities. There's too much victim blaming. And I'm looking at a panel of very healthy, advantaged people that have a lot more going on and that are refusing to engage with the public on this topic without providing the opportunity for someone who is a subject matter expert to have a presentation. And I'm referring to Stacy Champion. We do not have what we need for affordable housing on the discussions that are being asked of. As JC mentioned, it's a complex issue. So therefore we need an engaged steering committee or subcommittee on affordable housing. I understand that's probably hard for the bureaucrats at the table to understand, but that's why we're here speaking to council members today, because we rarely get that opportunity to have that face-to-face time like you guys do. So, you know, and stop looking for the return on investments with this. That's Reagan politics. When you look for return on investments, you're looking at human lives as dispensable. And that's disgusting. This whole process is just totally disingenuous. At minimum, I would say not even just signs for the crossing, but a hot crossing. And that's bare minimum. And this is not much to ask for. And this is also what leads us to where we can no longer even trust the system and we have to do petitions. So I'm thank you for your time. Well, actually, no, thank you for your time. We should never have even gotten to this point.
Chair Stark, members of the subcommittee, that concludes our citizens' comment today.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe there's not an action item. However, I think I would like to see maybe some kind of routine update on what's happening around the Human Services campus. Is there a way to do that? And I'm not sure which subcommittee that would go to.
Chairwoman Stark, I believe that would be the Community and Cultural Investment Subcommittee that normally hears issues related to homelessness, and we'd be happy to provide a regular update through that venue. Another opportunity is just general information reports through the council packets, which we do on other items as well. So we're open to your preferences regarding that, but we would be happy to provide regular updates on our progress. This is a priority to us as well, and we very much care about the dignity of those who are experiencing homelessness in our community.
Thank you. Perhaps you could work with the chairwoman of that subcommittee to see what you might want to do. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. Let me see what she would like to do, but I think at least give us general information reports on a routine basis would be very helpful. Are there any other comments or questions from the rest of the subcommittee?
I do have just a couple of quick.
Yes. Please.
Documentaries.
Okay.
The task force that was formed, when was that formed?
Chairwoman and Council Member O'Brien, the Strategies to Address Homelessness Task Force began its work in January of 2021. I'm getting my years mixed up for some reason. And we have facilitated the work of that group. They have completed their recommendations, and we're preparing to work with them to go to the CCI subcommittee, hoping to do that in April.
Okay, I do want to say thank you for getting the additional bins out. Our last time I heard this, or we talked about the trash bins in a different committee, I believe, are they getting full? The comment was that they're not full when they're getting picked up.
I'd like to defer this to Joe Giudice.
Chairwoman, Councilmember O'Brien, good morning. We added additional bins for convenience. Now, we have had, I think, 2 incidents in the last month where on a Monday morning, there was at least 1 bin that was overfilled, and we are looking into that as we believe there may be some material being brought in from elsewhere. But nonetheless, we did determine that adding additional containers for convenience as the population in the area continues to grow and move and shift made the most sense. And again, working with the campus on their special permit to add those additional containers and service them, we believe will also be an additional solution.
Okay, thank you, Joe. The additional storage lockers that are at Andre House, do we have any idea how many there are?
Chairwoman, do you know, Scott? Chairwoman, Councilmember O'Brien, we don't have the exact number right now for the number of storage lockers at Andre House, but we'd be happy to provide that information once we find out.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Our next item